Just been playing with some water. Now for some colour. A few drops of coloured ink here. That's going well. I think we'll have another colour. Probably be able to see that better if I put a bit of card behind there. I'm going to give it a bit of a shake now, see what happens. Nothing. Oh, it's starting to merge a bit. There we are. Now for some magic. Empty jar, clear water, pour. It works. Mr. Bennett would be pleased with me. Of course, it's an absolute cheat. There's some cold water dye powder in the bottom of the jar, and when you add water, colour. Same with all these coloured jars up here. This belongs to Mr. Bennett. He asked me to keep an eye on it while he's away on holiday. Left a great long list of instructions here. 1, feed from jar marked food. 2, keep gravel well raked. 3, do not peer into tank. The fish is easily frightened. 4, should the fish continually dive headfirst into the sand, it's a sign to clean the tank. 5, in conversation with the fish, call it fish, or it'll get confused. Won't we all? P.S. Please do not let morph anywhere near fish. I don't want it getting into any bad habits. Hear that, Morph? No messing around with fish. Morph, what are you doing? Think you're going to be all right, fish? Morph's too busy playing musical jars. Couldn't be. More magic. Clear water, brush. Paint a very simple design using lots of water. And it's invisible. But a few drops of ink. Suddenly it's there. Do something similar, but this time with a little more detail and using cotton wool with water. And this time I'm going to put the ink on by using the wooden end of the paintbrush. I'll give you a tip about this. If, when you're putting ink, any sort of ink will do, onto the paper and it doesn't spread as well as this does, just put 1 drop of washing up liquid in and you'll find it'll spread beautifully. A little more water with the cotton wool. Sorry? Must have been morph. Oh, hard luck, morph. I've been playing with this mirror, looking at the reflection in it. And I can get even more of a distortion by using this bit of glass on the top. Looks rather like moving water, doesn't it? Streets of Venice. Wonder what it's like in the rush hour. Now, a recipe. Pint of water and 2 teaspoonfuls of wallpaper paste. Sprinkle on. Give that a bit of a stir up with a little stick and let it set for about 10 minutes. When it's done that, it'll be like this, sort of watery jelly. Now, I need oil paint. Any sort of oil paint will do, and I've put it into a little plastic bottle. The reason for that is that I want to drip it on the water, and it comes out very easily if I squeeze the bottle like that. Now with a little stick, it's just a matter of combing a pattern. I'm not going to do any more to that. Looks rather fun. Piece of paper, any sort of paper, and on to the top. I don't know if you can see, but I can just see pattern coming through here. Right, now to peel it off. Yes, that's not too bad at all. The only thing is, of course, that I've lifted with the ink about 1.5 pounds of gungy jelly. So what I'm going to do is wash it off under the tap here. Now, if you can hear me over the noise of the water, I'll just tell you that recipe again. 1 pint of water, 2 teaspoonfuls of the paste, in its powdered form, of course. Well, that's got rid of all the jelly. And I can bring that back, put it on a piece of paper and let it dry. There we are.
Ooh.
Hello? Who's that? Sorry about this. Better just check and see. Hello? Oh, Mr. Bennett, how's the holiday going? Snowing? Yes, everything's fine here. Fish, no trouble at all, no. I saw your list, just been doing what you said. Morph, oh, far too busy. He hasn't been near the tank all day. Morph, get out of the tank. It's Mr. Bennett on the phone. Yes, Mr. Bennett, sorry. Yes, everything's fine. Morph has just been for a bath and he's got out now. Everything's fine. Mr. Bennett, look, I've got to get on. Still doing the programme, you see. No, not a bit. Enjoy the rest of your swim. Holiday. Morph? Morph, I don't know what you think you're doing. I hope you haven't swallowed any of that water, because it'll only give you a stomachache. Morph, really. Come on, you two. Back to the box. Well, fish seems to be all right. Still, I suppose I'd better change the water. Now that the card has had a wash, I can add a bit of colour. And this is cold water dye powder. Rather like poppies, aren't they? We'll do another one. I'm not making the card quite so wet this time. And I'm just going to throw the powder at it, like that. And here are some more. And if you want to add to the picture with a felt tip pen or something, well, do. It makes quite a difference. Worth watching those grains. Now, for making your own powder. All you need is chalk. And a few simple masks. And that was chalk powder. And this is going to bring the tears to Morph's eyes. one of those days.
Finger painting. Nice and messy. I like it. You can use a brush just for a bit, not much. But it is useful for scratching through. This is poster paint, by the way. I'm actually doing this on a piece of clear cell. So you see the coloured paper coming through underneath. Now we can leave it like that, or see another piece of card underneath. From Mr. Bennett. A small gift in appreciation of your goodness and kindness in looking after my fish for me while I was on holiday. P.S. Sorry to disturb you. P.P.S. I wrapped it myself. Happy birthday. Well, it isn't actually, but, well, how very nice of him. He didn't need to do that. Mind you, that fish of his was a bit peculiar. Seems quite quiet without it. Oh, well, let's get this undone and see what we got. 21. Hardly. Oh, this is nice. There's even more paper there. But this stuff is very beautiful gloss. I've got some more like it over there. I think I'll go on and use this. And knowing Mr. Bennett, there's probably more in this than meets the eye. Anyway, this is lovely. Beautiful, smooth texture. Now, where are my scissors? Just the same paper as mine. Mr. Bennett probably goes to the same art shop. Does seem a shame, doesn't it, to crinkle it up? But you'll see why. Ink. Any sort of ink at all. Just has to be darker than the paper you're working on. Then take off the surplus ink. Rather nice pattern comes about. When that's dry, to look like that, and you can use it in a collage. Glossy paper we've used, now matte paper. Well, matte card, really. Quite thin. Now I fold it the other way. The harder you can press it, the better. I want to crack the card. Makes a crisscross texture. Put it under a heavy book overnight and it'll be flat. Something else we can do. Same card, this time just scoring it. Pencil design on the back. I've now got several bits and pieces for a collage. Gloss background. It's one of those bits. Just a very plain triangle, nothing more done to it than that. Here's our lovely dried texture with a bit of both gloss and matte card. Finally, there must be something I can do with these offcuts. I know. This is going to take rather a long time. I know. We'll leave it to gravity. What goes up? Really must do that more often. Back to the parcel. Very big, isn't it? Wonder what he's got in here. Tissue paper, apparently. Ah, another note. It's a joke. I say. Why does this paper make you sneeze? I do not know. Why does this paper make you sneeze? Because it's tissue paper. I sometimes wonder about Mr. Bennett. Oh, well, better. I could use this. Mr. Bennett's a great provider, isn't he? Very watery wallpaper paste. And I'm doing this on glass. You know, like a window pane. If they'll let you do it, I should do this on a window pane. You'll see why in a minute.
There are some things that need a more detailed plan before you start. Like paper folding. Somehow I don't think Chaz is off to a flying start. Anyway, now it's time to look at your pictures in the gallery. Helen has used sweet wrappers for her Valentine card. Gavin has made a tissue paper one-legged duck. Must get to the bottom of this. Having about as much luck as Oggy. Newspaper. Ah! Another note. Another joke. I say. What food is always a day behind? I do not know. What food is always a day behind? Chips. Because chips are always wrapped in yesterday's newspapers. P.S. Sorry, it's not a very funny joke. It's a serious newspaper. Yes, well, just in case there are any more jokes like that, I can use Mr. Bennett's newspaper. Let's get rid of that over there. And all of that. Don't want that. So, a couple of sheets of newspaper to start with. Wallpaper, paste, again. Let's have just one more.
got quite thick. Now you can scrumble it up. More paste. Now, if you want to, you can simply use it as it is, but you can use a bit of paint. You don't have to use your hand. I like it. A bit of colour too, if you like. Doesn't matter what sort of colour you use, paint, ink, anything. All it's going to do is to make a very fine, light colour. And now, it's just a matter of taking it off to dry. Just hang on for a sec. Then, when it is dry, it'll look like this. Pretty tough card, you see? Quite a lot of sheets. I've got some more of them. This one I've left very white. Put in a little bit of colour. Like that texture very much. Shows up well. Of course, you don't have to use colour in your newspaper. You can use magazine illustrations that are coloured already. Do it in exactly the same way that I showed you. Scrumple it up, use the paste, and they bring about their own texture and colour. It's rather a fun bit there. Rather specialised bit of cutting I've done here. Recognisable object. Of course, if you're making this, you'd stick all the individual bits down. But what I'm going to do right now, to flatten them, is just put a sheet of glass over the top. Back to the present. And this is the end result. Writing paper with a note from Mr. Bennett. Hope you enjoyed my 2 jokes. Now for my 2 gifts. The small one is to keep you company now that I've taken back my fish, and the larger one is a stick of rock I bought for you on my holidays. Thanks again for all your help. Yours, Mr. Bennett. Something for my companionship, eh? To keep me company. Oh, Mr. Bennett. What a delightful creature. Now for the stick of rock. Haven't had rock in years. Not very good for your teeth, actually, but it's a real bit of rock. It's beautiful. This is what it says. Silicified rock, age over 50 million years. 50 million! Origin part of tree. I'm going to put this over here. It's lovely. What a texture. Look, you can see the bark on it. It's amazing, isn't it, to think that over 50 million years ago, that could actually have been made into paper. Very old paper. And not the sort of paper for an aeroplane, Morph. Plane was a load of rubbish, was it, Morph? Come on. Morph, you know how interested you were in Mr. Bennett's fish? Well, look, I've got a little present for you. Oh, hello. Better just see what this is about. Ah, it's from Mr. Bennett. Dear Mr. Hart, sorry I can't help you with your programme today, but the central boiler is playing up again. It's either the thermal hydroelectric injection manifold extension coupling point not aligning with the three-phase calibrated bypass valve, or it's broken. Anyway, if you need me, I'll be stroking the boiler. P.S. Have a good show. Yours, Mr. Bennett, caretaker and boiler mender limited. Not too limited, I hope, because it's rather chilly in here without the heating on. Anyway, we must get on. Paper paste. Now, I'm going to try and keep myself warm by making a picture that looks cold. I'm putting it onto some foam rubber. Makes it easier. A little bit of card. And here we go. I'm putting this onto clear cell. Any transparent material will do. And I think that's about enough. Glitter. Got some more over here. That didn't make me feel much warmer. Don't think this will either. Paper snowflake. Make it like this. Draw a circle using compass. Cut out of paper, fold it through the middle. Got to use the compass now just to make this mark. Then you can fold it from the middle to the mark. Fold again. And once more. With all this folding, doesn't want to be very thick paper, obviously. Now look, I'll just make a little pencil drawing on here that might help you. Don't think you've got to copy me. You can make your own designs. Last one. There's your paper snowflake. Not a bad plan to stick that down onto another piece of card. Flattens it out beautifully, like that. I'm going to put this on here. Looks like a sort of weather symbol. Snowing down there. Here are some more. Bright sunshine. Where should we put that? There. Cloudy. A few raindrops, perhaps. This is really bad. Nasty thundercloud there. Lightning. More rain. Coming down in stair rods. Coming down cats and dogs. No, perhaps not. Fog. Fog in the valley. There we are. Sure, you can do some splendid ones of your own for that. Now, for something big. No, I'm not going to ice a cake. What I'm going to do is going to be completely inedible. And of course, it's not icing sugar. It's a mixture of white powder paint and household plaster. About 2 of the white powder paint to 1 of plaster. White blotting paper and felt tips. Now these are the soluble variety of felt tip, and that's very important. They mustn't be permanent. I've evolved a simple sort of pattern. It doesn't matter what you put on it, really, but this one seems to work quite pleasantly. So I'll go on with it. Change colour. Last colour. That'll do. Now this plastic netting isn't absolutely necessary, but I found it very useful for getting the blotting paper out of the water. Are you ready? Because this is going to move very quickly. Here we go. Now if I count up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I can take it out in one go. Now if I'm very careful, you see it's still moving without tearing the blotting paper. I can put it down. Good.
There's one girl who's awfully unpopular, doesn't he?
Shells 350,000, and then yes.
Well, I mean, it's all the same to me, I said, yes.
Strange bird. Oh, well. Going to make another moving picture, this time using this apparatus. Not nearly as sinister as it looks, just something to hang a loop of string on. Now, the whole loop of string has got a slip knot so that I can alter that angle at the top. Then, on the bottom, a cone and some wire to hold it on. This is what we do. Dry salt. Must be dry, otherwise it'll all clog up and it won't work. Simplest thing in the world to make this picture. Just let it swing. Just the right amount of salt, too. Let's get rid of that. We can change the pattern now. So by altering that angle, what I also have to do is to lengthen this little bit of wire that I put on the end to hold the cone. Because you see the whole string has gone higher up. Now we're in the right position. Salt. Now let's see what happens. Surprisingly quiet day it's been today. Not one interruption from Mr. Bennett. Not a sound out of Morph. Of course, it can't last. And that was a paper mosaic. Through here, I've got some flattened clay. It's been rolled out like pastry. You can use a jam jar to do that. Now, the idea is to cut it into strips, about as wide as that, and then to cut those strips into little squares. The Romans called these tesserae, and they were used to make their mosaics. This is what it looks like when the clay is dried, and now you can paint them. I think poster paint is the best thing to paint those with, but if you just leave it like that, they'll look a bit flat. So if you varnish them with polyurethane varnish, you see, they shine a bit, which is very pleasant. Then all you do is to start making a pattern or a picture using all these little tesserae. Important to keep channels between them. Show you why, because if you want to make a really professional job of the picture, put on a mixture of fine sand and cement, and with a brush, get it into all those channels, all those grooves. Then when that's been done, you pour very carefully, you pour water onto it. And when that's dry, it'll look like this. Any odd bits that have been left on the tesserae, you can just sweep them off with a brush. And there you are. Well, over here, I've got a mosaic that I've completed. Oh, Morph. Never knew you could play the guitar. I was right. Oh dear. And now, it's time for the gallery. something rather special. It's a maquette by Henry Moore. He made it in 1954 as a model for a much larger work. This is cast in bronze, and the large work was sculpted from elm wood, and it's all about 9 times bigger than this. Well, Mr. Moore lent this to us so that we could have a look at it. And he is, I suppose, the most famous sculptor in the country. And I think it's wonderful. And he calls it reclining figure. Plastic netting, very fine and very useful for collage. You can crumple it up and make weird-looking creatures from it. Open it out, pull it in a sort of rope so that it goes very dark. But I'm going to use it as the background for a collage. I remember when I was young being told that netting was a lot of holes tied together with string. Well, in this case, they're tied together with plastic. Let's see what I can work into that. Another sort of plastic netting. Lower that a bit. And another sort of netting, wire. And now, something messy. I should have done that in the garden. And you most certainly should. Come on, you two. I'm going to be mixing up some plaster in a minute. I think you'd be better over there. Shouldn't do much harm there. Right. Plaster of Paris, water. About half a pint. 1, 2 tablespoons, and a bit. Now the idea is to just let it mix into the water firmly and gently. I'm stirring, trying not to get too many air bubbles into the mix. When it is mixed, I shall put it into this area. You can see I've made a little cardboard wall and there's some oven foil in the bottom. It's a good idea because it prevents the plaster mix from running all over the table. It takes a bit of time to mix. Well, that seems about ready to pour. There we are. Oh, good. There's a little bit left in the bottom. I can use that for something I want to show you. This isn't plaster. This is powder paint. Doing that to make the plaster that's left nice and thick. Going to use that on this little bit of card. Come on, out you come. Don't forget to wash that brush out well after you've done this. Otherwise it'll dry hard. Cardboard comb. And now I shall let that set, which it will. I've done that because I'm decorating a box. Let me show you what I've done already. Felt tip design, folded and cut paper, strips of tissue paper, and where they overlap you get a different colour. Quite effective. And of course, when that is set and dry, it'll go on the top there. Not there. Well, let that set, and here's something else that I can do. Ordinary stationer's glue, this is. And having painted the design, little sand. And shake it off. And that goes on this part of the box. Incidentally, when the sand is dry, it'll look much whiter than it does now. That's because the glue's wet, you see. There it is. Another thing we can do is to make a sort of mosaic. That's made out of beans and seeds and lentils and peppercorns and goodness knows what. It's rather fun, isn't it? Oh, I've forgotten the inside. Never mind. What we'll do
Abracadabra. Good. That's finished. And that's set. Good. Now I can paint it. And I'm using emulsion paint, but you can use poster paint or powder colour. And that's that. Just rinse this out. Oh, nice colour, isn't it? Nice shape, too. Coffee jar. Here's a dry one. And this is clear adhesive. And here's another one. If you want to put some colour in it, it's really very easy. Any sort of ink and mix it with a little stationer's glue. You can just brush it on. Charming. Hopefully this is now dry. It is, because I want to do my own engraving with a 4-inch nail. There we are. Tile.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Ah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Ah.
Looks as though bookworm's been redesigned. Diffuser. You can blow through it. Spray. Like this. Only trouble is, it takes an awful lot of blow. And it's going to take ages to get through that. Got something rather better here. Getting a bit hot in here. I think Mr. Bennett must have mended the boiler. Hope he knows what he's doing. Oh, no. All right, you two. I'll turn it off. Morph, have you seen my pens, pencils, brushes, paper, pictures, anywhere? Well, at least the phone hasn't blown away. Hello? Ah, Mr. Bennett, how are things going? Well, it's very hot up here. You can't turn the boiler off. It's steaming and hissing. And you've got cramp in your big toe. Yes, I'll come down. Sorry about this. Bye. Shall I bring a spanner? A spanner, you know, a metal instrument for dealing with nuts. Sorry, Mr. Bennett, I wasn't being personal.